Hello and welcome to another SpeedPaint video. If you are familiar with my content, you may recognize this from an animated meme that I posted previously about 2 weeks ago. That's because that features two characters from my webcomic called Ghosting. It is a comic that I've been doing on the side. I started it about 2 years ago at this point, and for my quick elevator pitch, I will say that it is about a moody boy who uses a Ouija board in a way that he's not supposed to and essentially summons a ghost friend to protect him from all the other evil spirits that are now coming after the moody boy. And like I said, I have been posting ghosting over on Tapastic for about 2 years now, and even though I started posting 2 years ago, I took about an 11-month hiatus in between. So really only been working on it, I guess, for a little bit over a year. And that's just because for 11 months my life was pretty much chaos up until this point that I've recently been able to start working on it again. I graduated college, I moved twice across states, and went through like an unpaid internship into a underpaid print shop job. So yeah, it was a crazy 11 months, a lot of stuff changed for me, and I would not say it was a bad 11 months because I think in the end I came out a better person. I really learned my worth and when to kind of put my foot down and stop letting people take advantage of me, which is very important if you want a job doing something creative or as an artist. It's just looking back on it now, I should have known better, because all throughout art school, there's so many teachers and instructors that will say, you know, never work unpaid, don't do things for free, don't work for exposure, that sort of thing. But for me, I graduated, I was looking for a job for 2 years, you know, doing like busing on the side. And as you keep looking and you don't get anything back, it starts to become more and more appealing to, you know, maybe consider that unpaid internship. It did give me experience, it wasn't too demanding, and in general I actually enjoyed the internship. However, the print shop job is a totally different story. So, excuse me for venting, but my issue with the print shop job is that my boss essentially did not want to be there, ever. She was very vocal about not wanting to be there, and maybe for the 5 days out of the week we were open, she was there at most 2. I remember there were some weeks she wouldn't even show up at all. And that's okay. If you are a small business owner, you don't have to show up, but you need to hire a manager or a supervisor to look over your business, and that is where she went wrong. She had 2 employees, me, who at the time was supposed to be a graphic designer in training, and a part-time intern who was only there 3 days a week. So this being my first full-time job, it was like being thrown into boiling water. My boss essentially left me to learn my job by myself and then also wear all of these other hats and pretty much run the print shop by myself, or else clients would yell at me because I was the only one there half the time. And I think it's important to note here that this print shop job is the only job I have ever quit with no notice. I know that's really bad to say that you quit any with no notice, but that is how terribly stressed it made me. So there were a lot of things that contributed to me quitting when I did, but what tipped me over the edge is when I asked for 1 day off. I asked for my first day off in the 5 months that I was working there because it was really important. I remember that I made a doctor's appointment that had a huge waiting list, and if I were to reschedule, it would have to be like for months later. So it was super important to me. And I even put the request in a month in advance, and it came to the week before my appointment, my boss declined the request off. And I asked her like, hey, what's up? I really need this day off. She's like, well, the intern won't be here that day, so there will be no one here that day. And I asked her, well, what about you? No, I don't want to come in that day. So And it's like, I came to the realization, like, am I ever going to get a break? Is this going to be my life? Like, am I going to end up running this print shop that I did not ask for the rest of my career? At the time, I was already looking for other jobs, but at this point, I couldn't wait any longer. It was too stressful. And as I said earlier, there were other things that contributed to this, but really, first job I ever quit with no notice. And now that I'm done venting, ghosting is really great to get back into. I've been developing this comic throughout my entire college career, pretty much. I remember my sophomore year, I made an animatic that kind of featured these characters in the story, and it just really stuck with me. So since then, I've been posting it when I can, and it feels really good to work on. I think overall, Foster has come a really long way. I'll post some examples of his character design process that I went through, and I really love this character just because he embodies one of my favorite personality dynamics, just this sort of dead or undead boy that acts more lively than the living. It's really one of my favorite characteristics to see in media, so I wanted to incorporate that into my own character. It would honestly be a dream come true if I could work on a comic and pretty much make a living off of it. Be my own art boss, pretty much. That has really been a dream of mine since I started making comics in middle school. Back then when I was flunking art class because I'd rather draw manga than still lifes. Really, sharing stories has been a lifelong passion of mine, and I'm glad that I have my webcomic Ghosting to really expand on that. Like I said before, if you are interested in checking out my comic, feel free to check the description. I will leave a link there. And if you don't see an update, just know that I am constantly thinking about this comic, and I will update whenever I can. And that is going to about wrap it up for this SpeedPaint video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.